Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Ark Raiders. Ark Raiders takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where humans have been driven underground. The surface is now ruled by the mechanical faction named Ark, which consists of a few different types of drones and robots mostly. Raiders are those who are willing to go out to the surface to scavenge for materials to bring back down to Speranza, the human underground haven. That's where the extraction shooter gameplay comes in. You play a raider alongside and contesting other raiders searching for material goods. Will you make it back to Speranza, or end up forgotten on the surface? But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat? So this is definitely inspired by like Terminator, Mad Max, all those different science fictions where it's like a post-apocalyptic world, and you get to be thrown right into it as just a lowly survivor trying to make his way through the world and scavenge for scraps.
Yeah, no, basically.
Everyone else has too.
Yeah, but this game basically throws you in with nobody reading the instruction manual. It's probably the shortest tutorial I've ever witnessed. Yeah. And, be honest, Henrik, I mean,
which is a good thing.
Do you? Because I know when you hear extraction shooters, like, is it better to immediately prepare to lose all of your stuff, or just are you built differently?
Well, no, in an extraction shooter, you have to go into the game expecting, okay, I'm going to lose probably a lot of stuff at one point, just due to stupidity on my part or some sort of skill issue on my part. It could be one or the other, really. And the game throwing you into the wild basically puts you in a position where that first match, unless you can make friends with some people, you're probably going to not be able to extract.
Yeah,
because people can be pretty brutal in this game.
Yeah, no, I think for this kind of style of genre of gameplay, especially for a shooter, extraction shooters, I feel like the setting, the landscape is like the perfect environment for an extraction, because you're on this future Earth that supposedly died twice, and I joked earlier during the intro that we're basically just human mulch for the robots. I mean, you wonder why the Earth keeps growing back. Well, because they keep killing us, and then we're the actual fertilizer that you're picking up while you're breaching and looting these cabinets, or ravaging through the wasteland of God knows what the hell you're looking in. But I feel like these mysterious robot overlords, called Ark, I think it's really fascinating. And then they try to sell you on a story, which I don't know if it's quite clinging to me at the moment. I know humanity is underground in a place called Speranza, which sounds like a fancy salad dressing. It's just, I don't know. It's like the first thing I thought, but it's actually your last refuge. And then you go topside to scavenge and shoot and then scream in agony while being hunted by robots the size of like small office buildings. It's insane how quick they turn on you if you shoot, let's say, the queen.
Yeah. And that is the thing. They keep scouting while you're doing things, and you might forget about the drones for a while, actually, because you might not hear one, you might not see one while you're doing things, and then all of a sudden you go around that corner and there's a drone waiting for you right there.
Yeah, it's like
sees you.
Wally.
You're like, oh no.
Wally
now
grew up, he got jacked.
It.
All right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. These robots are legit. That's what I kept envisioning. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like a Disney rated R film. It's Wally. He grew up. He got jacked up. He's mixed in the rust and the dust. And then you see these like red neon lights that are like looking at you from the sky almost, because you have to kind of look up at some of these big ass mofos if you're kind of down low. If you're up on the dam, in the beginning of the game, you could kind of, get level to level with them, but you wouldn't want them jumping on you like a spider monkey, you know what I mean? And you'll be like standing there at moments, admiring, the sunset over this desolate wasteland, when suddenly, shabang, this like robot crab punches you into orbit. Those are some of the more hilarious moments in the game that, as much as everybody's taking the game a little seriously, kind of just spur off from the trio. Even if you're in randoms, that just kind of start shit. You're going to have the best experience doing that.
And speaking of hilarious moments, I mean, this game is just one of those games that's built for just hilarious moments and also moments that make you jump in just excitement of the moment because of things like having the proximity chat. Like that is a key feature to this game that makes it so you almost have to talk to other people. And if you don't, they're probably going to shoot you. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
that text to well, not text, the like emote wheel where
But
you
they
can
don't
kind of
even
like
teach
say
you that in
hello,
the
hi, all that.
tutorial, which I thought was pretty interesting
Yeah.
because there's going to be some gamers that are going to be mic shy. But then again, the more I think about it, Henrik, I think they did that on purpose to leave it out of the tutorial because they wanted everybody first jumping in to utilize the mic. Like you're saying,
Yeah.
that's what brings the pure adrenaline and anxiety to the battlefield.
Yeah, and I've had plenty of moments where, I've teamed up with people in a solo match just because we run into each other and we're like, "Oh, whoa, 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 friendly, friendly, friendly." Like, you don't shoot me, I don't shoot you. We're good. And then we end up teaming up and going and killing a couple other guys and then extracting together. Somehow that
Yep.
happens. Like moments like that are things that make a game memorable, and it's going to be different for each person. That's the thing that's so special about it as well, because I have that story, and then Chris is going to have a different story, and then whoever's
Right.
playing the game is going to have their own stories as well.
And
So
you can play solo or in trios, and the game highly recommends that you do it in trios, which is like a polite way of saying, Henrik, you will die alone with your
yeah,
teammates. And you can craft, upgrade, and explore a constantly changing world where the weather, the enemies, and you're just going to be just having to embrace just a lot of insanity along the way. We really are.
yeah,
I mean, there's even some quirkiness too. I mean, you've probably seen the video with the ladder that just kind of sets you up for failure. I think there's a
hmm
lot of like little funny things in the game. I think the developers did on purpose to kind of catch you off guard. Not just the robots are going to get you, even a ladder. You'll know sooner or later. Arc Raider.
yeah, yeah. You'll find it, gamers.
But there was a skill tree that everybody's talking about. There's 3 branches, Henrik, right? There's
Mhm.
survival, mobility, and conditioning. And I don't know about you, but like none of them seemed to help me understand what the hell I was doing because I don't know. I felt like every run was slightly different. You're gonna either,
And that's the point. That
yeah.
is entirely the point. It's not supposed to be the same thing every single time. There's been plenty of times where I've gone in and been like, all right, this is demon time. I'm gonna go
But
kill whoever I see. And
but
I do
because
fine.
of
I kill
that,
5 people, and then the next round I died the first time I see someone.
But because of that, did it take away from focusing on the skill tree? Because myself, I just felt like I was like, I could care less if I'm slightly faster or reload a bit quicker. Like that doesn't change the fact that I'm just panic shooting at bushes or accidentally alerted another robot like a mile away. You know what I mean?
Well, I think the skill tree, especially when you get to things like being able to craft in the middle of a match or like being able to open up the security breaches, like those kind of skill tree talents that you build up to, that changes how you can approach things, I should say, not how you always approach things, but how you can approach things. Because then you have the options of being like, okay, I have the ability to open up security breaches, so I should go hunt for those in this match because I want to get the higher tier loot out of them. But you don't have to. If you don't
That's
want to, you
true.
could still go in and just decide I'm just going to shoot whoever comes up, my way, and if I die, I die. You could do that too.
It's
It's
starting
really
to
your
sound
choice.
like are you a plan it out kind of player, or do you also like black out mid fight and just kind of hope that muscle memory takes over?
I kind of plan it out. I'd be like, I'm looking at what I need, for like upgrades and things like that, and be like, okay, I need, say, an arc motion core for this upgrade to a workstation. So then I think, okay, I'm going to plan out. I'm going to go to this place and try and find some. I'm gonna kill some arcs, try and find some. But if I
See,
spawn on the other side of the map, I gotta just wing it at that point because
yeah, I
I
feel like
can't, I can't, waste my time. It's only
yeah,
30
I
minutes a
took a
match.
completely different route than you did. Every time I kept jumping in, I kept thinking to myself, the loot that you brought in is never your loot. I think that's the best philosophy to think of because if
Hmm.
you bring too much in and then you get duped early on in the game, you might be a little salty, right? And so I always
Yeah, yeah, I
carried
get
less
that.
going in. And then, like, at first, when you look up in the inventory, holy cow, the first run when you're collecting a bunch of nonsense, it is very overwhelming. Highly recommend opening up those subcategories in the menu to be able to individualize, like health, the shield, resources, this and that, separate the weapons, because it does get a little overwhelming in the beginning. But overall, I feel like...
At the same time, though, like, not to cut you off, but at the same time, with the items, I'd say that actually helps this game be a pretty good entry to an extraction shooter. A lot of them, like Escape from Tarkov, they don't tell you what the items really do. You kind of just have to figure it out or look it up. Whereas in this, you might have to look up some stuff, but the tooltip of the item actually says, like, okay, this is used in crafting for these guns, or like this is used, and you can just recycle it.
Well, even speaking on guns too, like the ammo is very simple. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shotgun ammo. Medium ammo, heavy ammo. Very self-explanatory. And with Arc Raiders, it's thrilling, frustrating, and sometimes feels like it's gaslighting you, but in a fun way. I feel like it's got that ambition, style, and chaos in equal measure, Henrik, I would say. And it's, it's confusing at first, but once it clicks for you, Raiders, it's a fun time with friends and random people. So I'm curious, what's the verdict? Is it a pause to play something new, or a repeat for endless fun?
Yeah, this is a pause. No, sorry, not pause. This is a repeat. Almost screwed it up there. This is a repeat. Maybe the future might not be entirely bright for the game. I know they have a 10-year plan, but as long as the game is around, I'm pretty certain people will enjoy playing it. Maybe not as much people will be playing it as there are right now in like a year, but there's going to be, I'm sure, just at least a community of people playing this game.
Well, yeah, the hype is definitely real right now, where there's the huge replay value. I totally understand you. You're like, don't do what Halo just did, 10-year plan and then ended up
yeah, exactly.
Years. The community's already leaking where the best loot spawns, ruining the mystery in a sense, but hey, that's the internet. Hopefully it doesn't fall down like Marvel Rivals has, and that's why they have to come up with a new game mode, 18 versus 18, But will Arc Raiders last the 10-year plan, like you just said, that Embark promises? We will soon have to find out. But I'm going to have to say I am leaning towards the repeat. I think it's a lot of fun. It's definitely different. It's a lot easier of an extraction shooter to jump in for newbies like myself that aren't usually typically invested in these kind of style of shooters. But then again, we want to ask you, the gamers, how are you vibing with Arc Raiders? Is this something dope where you would recommend it to a friend? Yo, we got to jump on again. Hey, you could rock the cradle another time. Stay up all night. Or is it a pause to just go, nah, man, Black Ops 7's coming out in a couple days. I'll see you there. Let us know what's good.